Well, hello and welcome to PowerPoint 2013, part of the Office 365 suite from Microsoft. What is PowerPoint, you may be asking yourself. You're here, you want to take a look at it, you've heard something about it. Well, PowerPoint is really a presentation software tool, and it's designed around slides. It's designed around individual screens of information. But on those screens, PowerPoint gives you the opportunity to add animation, to add text, to add photos. And as we go through this course, you're going to see that it's more than just a business presentation of your closing documents, or it's more than just the words you see on a page. It can be a photo gallery for the next time you're at your family get-together. It really is a tool that has a lot of uses once you understand all the elements that you can do. So to get us started, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual PowerPoint screens. Now what I'm looking at here, this is a PowerPoint presentation. So before we dive into how I do it, let's see what it looks like at the end. So right now I've got a screen. It's my first presentation. I really hope this works because, I am the teacher, Well, all I have to do is to click on it. And the things we're going to cover here initially is we're going to cover the introduction, which is what we're doing right now. We're also going to talk about the elements of the screen. Then we're going to talk about text and formatting. And it goes on and on and on. What I wanted to point out here is that you've got dynamic text coming in as I click on either the Enter key or the mouse button. Then I get to another use of it. Here's my photo gallery. What do you guys think of that picture? I think it's pretty good. No, I didn't take that picture. That's a stock one from Microsoft. But the idea here is you can take your photos and put them in here and start to use it. I love the view from this lighthouse. Then I've got just some random stuff where I can put my own elements on there. Or I got a dancing penguin. And more penguins. And more, look here. I'm just clicking and bringing these elements in. So as you begin to use PowerPoint and understand what the elements you can add or the objects you can add to it, it really becomes a tool that you can use to do more things, including doing your science fair projects. So now the sun plus plants equals decomposition, or whatever it may be. And it really just starts to tell a story using pictures. So what is PowerPoint? This is the PowerPoint that we just looked at. And I brought it into the basic overall layout of PowerPoint so that I can go over the screen elements with you. As with all Microsoft 2013 Office products, there are some elements that are consistent. This one right up here, this very top bar is what's called the Quick Launch Toolbar. And the Quick Launch Toolbar is really quick access to tools you may need right off the bat. For example, if I want to save, if I want to undo, if I want to redo, or if I want to start the show. PowerPoint is organized as a show. The show is organized of slides. If you think of an analogy, if you've been around long enough, like me, the carousel of 35mm slides, chunk, and the next picture comes up, and chunk, the next picture comes up. Same basic concept. I have slides that I can rearrange. But on those slides, I can have dynamic content. That's the major difference. Okay, and then we have our presentation title. This is the file name for this particular presentation. In this case, it's my first presentation -PowerPoint. If you've been through some of the courses we've already covered with Excel or Word or Outlook or Access, that's very common. The file name is at the top and then the type of file is at the very end. Because the interface is so similar. They want you to know exactly what you're looking at. Then we get to the ribbon. Now the ribbon is your collection of tool sets. And the ribbon is going to change based on the product. And in our case with PowerPoint, here are the elements that we've got available to us. On our Home tab. And the Home tab is the collection of elements that are standard, the most commonly used ones. We have our clipboard, which is our cut, our copy, our paste. Taking elements or objects and moving them from one place to another. Then we have our slide tools. We talk about slides. This screen that you see here in the center, that's a slide. Each of these individuals on the left, those are slides. So do I want to add a slide? Do I want to change a slide layout? Do I want to replace or make a section within my outline? That's where all these tools are actually going to be housed. Then I have my font area. So if I click on my text anywhere in my PowerPoint, I get my font tools. And these font tools are the same tools you're going to find in Excel, the same tools you're going to find in Word, same tools you're going to find in Outlook, same tools you're going to find in Access. They really are consistent font formatting tools. What is a font? A font is a character or letters. So I can adjust the letters using those font tools. Then I have my paragraph settings. Not the characters that are there, but the entire layout. Do I want to bullet it? Do I want to left align it? Do I want to spread it out? Do I want to change the spacing? All of those tools are available here. Then I have my drawing toolbar. My drawing tools, because it's such a visual elements, because PowerPoint is based on visual presentation of information, they've got a lot of built-in tools that they call shapes. And you can draw using these shapes. You can also arrange them. You can also edit them. You can change the attributes and characteristics. All of those tools are right here on the drawing toolbar. Now we're going to see that these are also on my insert toolbar, but because I use them so often, they've brought them to the front and put them on the home toolbar. Then I have my editing, so my find and replace toolbars are there as well. When I do switch over to my insert tab, because the way the ribbon is organized is you have tabs that contain collections of tools, is I got the opportunity to create a new slide. Just a new slide. So I start from scratch, adding a new slide. It's not a new presentation. It's simply a new screen within the presentation that I'm on right now. I can insert tables. I can insert pictures, clip art, a photo album. I can take a screenshot of my screen and put it in my presentation. Wouldn't that be odd? No, you can actually do that as well. And we'll talk about how you can do that later. We can add illustrations. And remember I said that the shapes are also on this page? Well, here they are. They're also part of the illustrations. Smart Art is a very valuable tool that you've got. Smart Art is a graphic that is designed to put text in and take that visual presentation of data and give you some great layouts to be able to do that quickly and easily. You can insert charts, you can insert links, you can insert actions. Because PowerPoint is a series of slides and everything is interconnected, you can actually have different elements or objects on slides do different things. When I click this arrow, do you want it to go to a website? When I click this arrow, do you want it to close this screen? Those kind of interactions are able to be built inside PowerPoint. We can do comments, we can do text box, header, footer, word art. All my text-based tools are listed right here. Not formatting, but these are additional text layout tools if you want to think of them that way. I can put symbols or I can insert video and audio. Video and audio are very, very powerful media objects that I can add to my PowerPoint presentations. And as we go through this course, we're going to talk about how I can add elements, how I can trigger them, how I can make them show up, and how I can use them to get my point across more effectively. When I get to the Design tab, this is kind of how the screens look. How does the background look? How does the text look? And it's based on a theme format. So for example, I've got a particular theme selected here. I can click on this one here and it changes my entire presentation because I've just said don't use the old theme, use the new one. Do I like it? I'm not so sure, but I can easily click on another one and it changes my presentation. So we're going to be talking about this as well. The next one is my transitions. How do I get from one slide to the next? If you remember in my presentation, some of them slid up, some of them slid across. We've got a lot of interactions you can do, so as you're moving from one slide to the next, it can do some very neat animations, and we'll cover those as part of this course as well. Then we get to animations. If you remember, I had text that showed up, I had objects that showed up, I had objects that moved. All of those are animations. So we're going to be talking about how I can use these animation tools to have things show up, disappear, move, spiral, make them visually appealing so that when I'm doing this presentation or I give this presentation to someone, it actually is something they want to watch and not just listen to. Then because this is a slideshow analogy, I can set up and configure the slideshow. Do I want it to show full screen? Do I want it to loop by itself? Do I want to record narration? Do I want to rehearse the timings? Do I want to have it go automatically? I can do all these things by using this slideshow tab and configuring the tools that are on that slideshow. Review, of course, gives me not only my word research functions of spelling and research and thesaurus. I can translate the information. I can track comments. I can put comments on this, send it to someone, have them review those comments and get those comments back. Or I can send this out, have somebody make changes, and track those changes if you want to think of it that way. I'm tracking the changes. That gives me an opportunity to accept those changes or deny those changes as well using the compare tools on the review tab. Then I've got the view tab. In just a minute, I'm going to talk about the different views that I have within a PowerPoint presentation when I'm designing it. Do I want to look at it tri-pane? Do I want to look at it outline? Do I want to look at it as preview? Do I want to look at the master, handout? There's a lot of ways I can look at this exact presentation depending upon what I'm doing with it. So all those tools are here as well. And then some other things. Do I want it to be color, grayscale, multiple windows? And I can even record macros. What a macro is, if you're not familiar with the term, is just a recorded set of steps. I say record, I do this, stop recording, and then whenever I do that macro again, it does this, and then it stops when I've said stop. So we'll talk about macros and some ways you can use macros as well. The developer tab here is focused on individual elements that you can add to your presentation that go from just objects to interactive objects as well. Typically, you're not going to use these in a very basic presentation, and we won't until we get to the end of intermediate or the advanced class with PowerPoint, but we will cover those as well. And then when we talk about format, these tabs are going to show up depending upon what elements I've got selected. For example, I'm now looking at a text box. I have a format tab for that drawing tool. If I click outside the box, it disappears. So as we have these elements and we click on these elements, additional tabs are going to appear. So that is the quick launch toolbar and the ribbons. We'll go ahead and move down in just a second here and talk about the screen and what are the other elements that I've got on that screen. So the screen that I'm looking at here, we just covered the quick launch toolbar and we covered the ribbon and the different tool sets that are available. We're going to spend a lot of time going back to those tools because that's where we get to do all of our work within PowerPoint. Where I really want to spend a little bit of time right now is talking about the interface that is there right in the center. It's a little bit different than, say, a word processor or a spreadsheet. They have typically one Canvas document that I'm working on, whether it's a sheet of paper or it's a series of cells in a spreadsheet. When I look at PowerPoint, we have a view that's called the tri-pane view. Tri-pane meaning 3 views that are available. We have on the left-hand side the preview of the slides that are included in my presentation. It's kind of like my slide sorter. If you think about it in that old carousel of the 35mm slides, it shows me what slides are and in what order. The main area I have here is my actual slide content. It's here that I'm going to be manipulating the slide, adding objects, changing things, updating things. That's really the actual slide that I'm working with. And the third pane is the notes area. This area down here at the bottom is where I can put notes associated with this particular slide. We're going to see this becomes very valuable when we're talking about different ways to print my presentation. Because I can print just the words, I can print just the slides, or I can print the slides and the words. So it's a way that you can keep track of things, but also a way that you can present information after the presentation by just printing it out. So again, that's my tri-pane view. And you'll see that each one of these has its own set of scroll bars, including this if I was to have more information. So let's go ahead and do this. It then gets its own personal little scroll bar down here at the bottom. And then down the very bottom of this window is my status bar. And it tells me that I'm on slide 1 of 6. So I have 6 slides in the presentation. This happens to be slide 1. It's normal. I can see notes or not see notes. That's why I can turn on and turn off notes. Remember I said by default we have that tri-pane view. But if I'm not using notes or I'm not putting notes in there, I may not want to see it. I can then turn off and turn on comments. You'll notice that it's changing the screen and adding things to the right or adding things to the bottom, and that's how it adjusts the size of the page, which gives me the ability to input or take a look at those objects that I want to review as well. The next one is my tri-pane view. It just puts it back to the default tri-pane view. Then I've got slide sorter. I've got different ways I can view the particular screen, and we'll come back and talk about those here in a little bit. But we have the slide sorter, we have reading, we have our slideshow, and then of course we have the zoom where I can zoom in and out of the particular slide that I have there. So once again, that is the overall layout of the screen. We've got the quick launch, we've got our tool sets, we've got our tri-pane or working view, and then we have our status bar at the bottom that gives us our quick launch to the different views and ways that we can take a look at the presentation.